Okay, our topic, our last topic here before that'll be on the quiz, because remember the quiz is days 1 through 5. This is our last concept that'll be on the quiz. It's called a midpoint. A midpoint. We're still talking about line segments. Yesterday, you guys did a great job how to find the length of a line segment. I used the distance formula if I can't count it. Now what I want to know today, where's the middle of it? Where's the midpoint, the middle of a line segment? Identify the middle, the midpoint of a line segment. So before we go on a graph, before we use our compass with it, I just want to make sure we are good. So can you guys please draw a line segment AB? We should have that ability now. Okay, underneath the conclude statement, right underneath it. Draw me line segment AB. Now, also I'm giving you M is the midpoint. Now, this isn't just any point on the line. Midpoint means it is in the middle. It breaks the segment up into two congruent segments. So do your best. Put point M where you think somewhere in the middle. Midpoint is the point in the middle of a segment. Also, what it does, it breaks your segment up into two congruent segments. Anybody remember the notation I can put on there? Hayden? Hash marks, right? Everyone remember? So if M is the midpoint, you can now confidently put hash marks on AM and MB because that's what a midpoint does. Breaks it up into two congruent segments. And we can now write that symbolically as well. Line segment AM. Do we remember the congruent sign? I know we only wrote it once. Equal sign.
Is it with the square? Like the
tilde.
Tilde.
Yeah, thank you. Squiggly. AM congruent to MB. All right, there it is. That's what a midpoint is. Cuts a segment into two congruent segments. Questions? And you got to be given it's a midpoint. If it doesn't say midpoint, you can't just assume those are congruent. Got to say midpoint. Matt, go.
Did you say this isn't on the quiz?
Oh, it is. This is the last day of the quiz. Yep, this is the last topic that'll be on the quiz. Questions before we apply some algebra to it? All right, let's go. Same diagram, AB. If you want to redraw it or if you want to use your own that we just did here, it's up to you. I'm just going to quickly redraw mine here. It says M is the midpoint. Perfect. I put M. I'll put the hash marks now right away. So that reminds me those two are equal. Now let's label, because now take a look. Everyone see how AM, I dropped the line segment symbol. So now we know it's the length. AM is equal to 2x plus 1. And BM is equal to 3x minus 4. Find the lengths of AM, BM, and AB. Now, I think you guys are in this mindset right now from 2 days ago where I'm just going to take 2x plus 1 plus 3x minus 4, set it equal to, oh, I don't have anything to set it equal to, do I? Do I know the length of the entire line segment here, AB? No. So you guys got to get out of that mindset. We got to look and think now. I can't go 2x, watch, don't write this down. I can't go 2x plus 1 plus 3x minus 4 equal to, I don't have anything to write it. I don't have anything to set it equal to because I never told you the length of AB, right? Okay, so I need to set up something else now to solve for x instead. All right, everyone see why that's not working now. What we did 2 days ago, that's not working. I can't just add them and set them equal. Not working. But, what, ooh, easy. What do we know about AM and MB? You put the marking, what do the markings mean again? If they're congruent, that means they have the same distance, the same length, right? They have the same length. So instead of adding them and set it equal to a number, what can I do with 2x plus 1 and 3x minus 4? Set them equal to each other because they're the same length. So I can set them equal to each other. And now solve. So we get x equal to 5? All right, but make sure you answer the question. I wasn't looking for x. I was looking for the length of AM, BM, and AB. So now I take 5 and we do a little substitution. Substitute it in for AM. And obviously with a small class today, I'm not going to do numbers because probably I'll hit a bunch of numbers that aren't here. So if you have it, just call it out here. If you plug in 5 for AM, what's our length of AM?
11.
Should be 11. Good. And then do the same thing now for BM. Plug in 5 and we end up with? Better be, right? It better be because we put congruent signs on there. So they better have the same length. And then in total, how about line segment AB? 11 and 11, 22. So now you just can't go, oh, this plus this equals this. You got to think about what's on the diagram now. Right here, it was a midpoint. These two are equal, so I set them equal to each other. But only if you know that's the midpoint. You can't just assume it is. It's got to tell you that's the midpoint. Questions, comments, concerns here? Now I want to do it what we did yesterday for distance. Let's put it on a graph now and see if you can tell me what the middle point is. Can you find the midpoint? So go ahead and graph line segment AB for me first. Line segment AB. All right, everyone has AB graph. Now I want to find the midpoint. I'll make sure, get your vocabulary straight. I'm not asking for the distance. I'm not asking for the distance to the middle. I want to know what is the point in the middle of the line segment. You should be giving me an X coordinate and a Y coordinate here. What is the point, the midpoint here? So you can count, right? We can see, all right, AB is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units long. So the middle would be somewhere 3 units from either point. So then I go, all right, 1, 2, 3. Here is the midpoint. And the answer is, what is that point? All right, an X coordinate and a Y coordinate. So what do you have here? The midpoint would be, if you go over and up, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the midpoint is 4, 4. See the difference from yesterday? This is not distance. I want to know what is the actual point in the middle of that line segment. Make sense? Versus yesterday. I don't want you guys to get them confused. Keep them separated. One more time. Go ahead and graph CD and see if you can find the midpoint of CD. What is the point in the middle? The point that breaks it up into 2 congruent pieces. So let's see. CD is 1, 2, 3, 4. So I go 2 units away. It's right there. Anybody got that point? 3, negative 1. Everyone agree? 3, negative 1. Stop me here if you don't see it. 3, negative 1. Hey, just like yesterday, right? Remember distance when it was horizontal and vertical, we could just count. Same thing here. This is nice and easy. But yesterday, where did we run into a problem? If the line segment was diagonal. Same thing here. If the line segment's diagonal, you can't count and go halfway and tell me what that point is. So yesterday I said, all right, I got an answer for you. It's called the distance formula. Today I got an answer for you. It's called the midpoint formula. How to find the middle of every line segment. And here it is. It's a nice and easy one. Not as crazy as yesterday's big square root. Here it is, your set of parentheses. Going to put a little comma in the middle, right? Because we're going to have X on the left, Y coordinate on the right. And here's how we find it. It makes sense because we're going in the middle. So it's going to be X1 plus X2. So you're going to add your X's together. And if I want to go halfway, what do you think I'm going to do to that? Keating, look at you. Go ahead. Divide it by 2. There you go. Yep. Just add your X's together, divide by 2, and then how do you think you're going to find the Y coordinate? Add them up, and Y1 plus Y2 divided by 2. And I know somebody asked this question right away, right after I gave distance formula, and that question was, will I give it to you? And what was the answer yesterday?
No.
Same answer today. So those are the only 2 formulas you need coming into Monday's quiz. Distance, midpoint. Okay, distance, midpoint. All right, let's use the midpoint formula. Definitely I want to use it here. I don't want to graph this, right? 2.5, 1/4. Oh boy. You guys have this, right? Coming up next page. All right, find the midpoint between A and B. I didn't give you a graph because it's going to kind of be, it's a little tough to graph 3.25, huh? It's a little tough to graph that. Thankfully, we have the midpoint formula though. Okay, thankfully we have the midpoint and our calculators. All right, what are your x coordinates up here? What x coordinates do you want me to add together?
2 1/2 and 3 1/4.
Good. 2.5 plus 3.25. And if you're more comfortable writing 2.5 and 3.25, that's fine with me. You can do this on your calculator. I'll show you in a second if you don't know how. Divided by 2, comma. What are my y coordinates you want me to add together? 1/4 and plus -1 all over 2. Yep. All right, so now it all becomes a calculation problem. So let's go to our calculator. All right, so I want to divide here, right? Actually, I don't. Let's get a good division one. There we go. Now, do you know how to do like if you wanted to type in 2.5 as 2.5, not 2.5, do you know how to do that? I think and I'm kind of new at this too. Keep hitting the division button. Okay, or not. Anybody know? I thought that was it, to write 2.5.
I think you have to put in numbers first.
Oh yeah,
Put a 2 and then divide it.
I thought it
No, press
was.
2. Do 2 and then press that arrow. Wait, not. Actually, I have no clue.
I have this.
I thought I knew how.
Wait, no, put the 1/2 in and then put the 1/2.
Oh, there you go. There it is. It's right there. I had it already. I went by it a bunch. There it is, right there.
Yeah.
So now you can go 2.5, and then plus, what was it, 3.25? Yep. So I'll do it again. 1, 2, there it is. 3.25. But now I need to divide it, right? That's going to be the tough part. Because I don't think, that's not what I want.
You have to put like all the division things first that you want, I think.
And then go up and do it.
Yeah.
All right. Or I could just see what this equals. 23/4, put it in. Like this is 5.75. So I could say that this equals. I'm just going to stick to the decimal here. 5.75 divided by 2, comma 1/4 plus -1. And that gives me -0.75. And then keep going to find what my point is, right? 5.75 divided by 2. 2.875. Comma, what do I got there? Anybody? -0.75 divided by 2. -0.375. If your calculator's giving you the fraction version, I'll definitely take that as well. Okay, I'll definitely take that. Questions? You sure? Add your x's, divide by 2, add your y's, divide by 2. All right. All right, I'm done with those. Everyone can just do add x's, divide by 2, add y's, divide by 2 in your calculator. You're all That's why you're in this class, above average, right? Here's what I want to do now. What would happen if I gave you the midpoint, one of the endpoints, and now I'm asking for the other endpoint now? So you know the midpoint, you know an endpoint, but what happened to the other endpoint now? All right, so a little visual here. Midpoint of DG. So if I just draw this out quick, I'm not going to put it on a graph, just so you guys can see it. The midpoint M of DG is negative 1, 5. And point D is 1, 4. And we're looking for what's point G over here, the other endpoint. That's what we're looking for. What's the other endpoint? So does everyone understand the question? All right, you know the midpoint, you know one endpoint. How the heck do I get to the other end? And I'm not going to use the midpoint formula either. You could. I just think it takes too much time. I'm going to show you what I call the skip method here. Where's the midpoint, by the way?
In the middle.
Where?
In the middle.
Directly in the middle. So however far I go from D to M, I got to go the same distance from M to G. Everyone agree? Because that darn thing's right in the middle. Where am I right now in the X? What's my X coordinate of D? 1. You're going from 1 to negative 1. So visualize this. I'm at 1 on the x-axis. I go to negative 1. How many units did I just travel? Let me do that again. I'm at 1 on the x-axis. I'm going over to negative 1. How many units did I just travel? 2. Everybody agrees? So which direction, negative or positive direction, you just traveled to? So you went 2 to the left. And you just told me that midpoint's directly in the middle. So guess what I got to do again? Guess how far I have to go again to get to G? I got to go another 2 to the left. Makes sense, right? If M's in the middle, you got to do the same on both. So where do you end up now? I was at negative 1, had to go another 2 to the left. Where do you end up? Negative 3. Do it again. Let's go on the y-axis now. Where am I on? Where did I start on the y-axis at? 4. So everybody, I'm at 4. This is not a tough one. And then I go to 5. How many units did I travel? 1. Which way? Positive or negative? Up 1, right? So I went up 1. Got to do it again. Where do you end up? 6. Right? 6. Got to match it on each side. So there's point G. And I know some of you are studs in here, and you always want to make sure you get the correct answer. If you're unsure about your final answer, you know what you can do? Take D and G and plug it into the midpoint formula, and I should get negative 1, 5. If you're unsure, do a quick check. Plug D and G into the midpoint formula. Make sure you get negative 1, 5. Is everyone all right with the little skip method here? We're good, because now we're going to turn our attention to the compass. Any questions? Are we sure? Okay, you ready? First time users here? First time users? First, when do I use it? When do I have to pick up? Because sometimes I won't say pick up your compass and straight edge. I'll just write it in the directions. Construct versus draw sketch. If the directions say construct, that's when you pick up your compass and use it. If it says draw or sketch, guys, don't waste your darn time. Pick up your writing utensil, just draw it yourself. All right, so draw a sketch. That's what you've been doing for me this entire year. But if the directions say construct, all right, now I got to pick up my compass and straight edge. All right, first thing I want you to do before we go into our first construction is off to the side, I want you to make some arc marks with your compass. All right, so off to the side, find a little white space. What I like to do here, because I know you guys are newbies, make sure obviously the point is down on your paper. All right, the point is down on your paper. I like to hold it at the top. All right, have a kind of loose wrist. All right, don't squeeze that thing. All right, like crazy, and just turn your wrist. Just turn it. Some people like to hold their paper while they do it, so the paper doesn't move with your other hand. All right, so go ahead on your paper. and see if you can make a couple arc marks. You don't need you will never need a full circle in here. Okay, you'll never need a full circle. So put your compass down somewhere on your white space of your paper. Try to make a couple arc marks before we start. It takes some getting used to. Trust me, it's going to take some. Do not get frustrated with yourself. If you don't like if you don't like holding the top, you have another method. That's fine. Just keep loose. The tighter you hold it, the more it'll shake and look like you made an earthquake happen when you try to do it. How's everyone doing? All right. We do a ton in here this year. Every unit has almost every unit has construction, so you'll be using that compass a lot and getting used to it. All right, you ready for your first construction? It's the easiest one of the year. The easiest one is the first one here, and that is, here's what we're going to do. Just so you know what we're going to do before we do it. We're going to take line segment AB and make a line segment congruent to it called CD over here. And remember, I don't want rulers. We don't measure anything in here ever. The only thing we use that ruler for, straight edge. All right, so I don't want, AB looks to be 7 inches. We'll go over here and make a 7-inch line segment. No, you won't. Okay, we're going to use this. We're going to use the compass. First thing, grab your straight edge. Grab your straight edge. See the end point I gave you? All right, we're going to call that C because this new line segment's got to be CD. So we're going to call that point C. So start out with the point that I gave you. Take your straight edge and make a line segment that looks longer than AB. Okay, don't measure AB. Nope, just take your straight edge and make a line segment that looks longer than AB. You don't have to put, if you want to, you can put a point over there, but don't call it D, right? We're trying to make CD congruent, the same length as AB. All right, this is going to go quick. There's not many steps here. Again, we are going to copy this line segment over here now, so they're congruent. All right, take your compass, open it up to the length of AB. So one point on A, other point on B. Open it up to the length of AB. Don't make any markings. You're just opening it up. So everyone's compass right now should be open to the length of AB. We're good? Doesn't take long. Now, keep that same opening. Don't close or open it more. Keep that same opening. Come over and put your point on C. Your compass point on C. And it doesn't need to be big, but you're going to make your first arc mark going through that line segment. It doesn't have to be huge. Just make sure it goes through your line segment. And then take your compass off your paper. Wherever your arc intersected your line segment, put a point there. And guess what we're going to call that point?
D.
Point D. And I'd like to congratulate you for doing your first construction. AB and CD are now congruent. If I just pulled some random person in the room that walked by right now, how would you show them they're congruent without telling them? Hash marks, let's put them on then. Let's put them on. And let's write it underneath now. All right, I like to write things symbolically here. So line segment AB is congruent to line segment CD. Congratulations, you did your first construction. Pretty easy on that one, right? Measure, come on over, swing. I got a little challenge question before we go to our last construction for today. What if I wanted you to construct a line segment that was twice the length of AB? 2 times the length of it. And look at the work you just did over here. You have one that's already equal to it. How do you think you would continue this construction to figure out a line segment that's two of these now? What's up, guys?
Just put 1 point on D and then make another one.
Okay, you just did this. Move it over. Right? And wherever that arc hits, that'll be twice the length because you guys are gonna do some of that on homework tonight. Questions? We sure? Okay. Last one for today, how to find the midpoint. Okay, how to find the midpoint. So what are we trying to find here?
The midpoint.
Yeah, I know the midpoint, which is what? The
Middle.
Where's the middle? Where's the point that cuts AB into two congruent segments? And again, are we going to measure and say, oh, it's 8 inches, so let's go 4 inches? Nope, we're not doing that. We're going to use our compass. Here's how we use our compass to find the midpoint. Put your compass point on one of the endpoints, A or B, I don't care. Here's the biggest piece. Open up your compass more than half the length. Open up your compass more than half the length of AB. And what you're going to do right here, this is probably the biggest arc you guys will make. You're going to make about a half circle sized arc. So this might be tough for some of you newbies here. A half circle type arc there. So take your time. If you got to move your paper, move your paper. And keep your compass the same opening. We're not done yet. You guys are looking good for newbies. Everyone's got it? Now go over to point B. And you're going to make another half circle size arc, but it should intersect in 2 spots of the first one you made. Okay, so you want an arc that intersects your original one, your first one, in 1, 2 spots. Kind of looks, I call it the fish. So make sure it intersects. You should have 2 points of intersection now. Grab your straight edge when you're ready. Grab your straight edge. Line up those 2 points of intersection. You don't need to draw a line in. Don't draw a line in. That's something totally different we'll go over later. But wherever your ruler, your straight edge goes through your line segment, make a little point there. Okay, so line up your straight edge. Line up your straight edge. And make sure you make a little marking where your straight edge goes through AB. And guess what you just found? The midpoint. And let's label it M. What else should go in my diagram? I have no idea if that's the midpoint or not. What should you put to say, hey, this is the midpoint? Hash marks on both sides, right? AM and MB. There you go. So you take one endpoint, open it up more than half the length, swing it. Open it up more than half the length, swing it. Before we end class today, I understand these directions get overwhelming and you go home and try it and you're like, I totally forgot what to do. I understand that's going to happen. I get it. So what I've created for you on Classroom, and I need you to use it if you ever get to that point where you forget the steps, right at the top on Classroom, it says construction help. And what myself and Miss Linehan, who's another geometry teacher here, what we did was we created videos on all the constructions you're going to do this year. All right. So if you miss one, I forgot the whole midpoint thing from today. Where is it? I know there's midpoint on here. Look at all the ones we're going to do this year, huh? It's on here. Or maybe did I go past it? What the heck? I thought we put midpoint on here. kidding me? All right, well, what's that?
It said midpoint like somewhere, but like with something.
Yeah, did I go past? Oh, there it is, midpoint. Okay, so it is on there. Okay, it is on there. All right, so if you ever forget, go on Classroom and find those videos. Okay, do your best. All right, we'll review everything tomorrow. Okay, we'll clean everything up. We'll get ready for the quiz on Monday. That I'm going to keep on Monday. All right, so tomorrow's a cleanup day for everybody, whether you're here or not. Tomorrow will be a cleanup day, and then Monday will be quiz day.